guys, let's talk about Neocolor IIs. They are amazing. And I've got a plan today to colour in this page here from Tiny Dolls completely with Neocolor IIs. So these little crayons are awesome. If you haven't used them before, definitely get some and give them a go because they are very versatile. So I'm going to try as many techniques as I know to finish this page, and we'll see all the different ways that Neocolor II can be used on a colouring page. So let's hop to it and get onto it. So I thought we'd start with the first technique, which is the most common technique that's usually used, which is just grabbing the Neocolor colour, colouring it straight onto the page, and then using your water just to dilute it down. So I like to use, when I do this, I do like to use my water brushes because I seem to have a lot more control. I find this is a great technique for doing backgrounds and also just undercoats if you want to just completely cover your page in colour, and then you can go back in with Prismacolor or something like that, because other colours and other mediums do go over it really well once it's dried. So I've just given a really, really messy coat to the sides around here. You don't have to be perfect, just a nice messy coat, but you do have to try and fill in all the gaps. And I have found the harder you press, the more pigment that's going to come out when you use the water. The lighter you press, the less pigment that's going to come out. But I do generally press quite hard because I like to get that really strong pigment that you get with these Neocolor IIs. So the brush that I like to use when I'm using this method is I like to use my water brushes because I just find that I can control the water much better. So I like to just do it in little circles. And I will try and get all my light first, and then I'll move on to the dark. You also don't have to go into all the tiny little cracks with the crayon. I do find that if you put enough pigment on, you can grab pigment off and just mush it into there. With the little bits that you can't get to, a really, really good trick, and also I use this when sometimes you'll find there's little spotchy bits that you don't quite like. So you can just get the pigment straight from the crayon and just pop it on. Sometimes you can fix up little bits. You can fill in the little sections that you haven't been able to quite get to. And also it helps to just add, if you really want to add like a little bit of extra pigment to certain places, you can do that as well. So that's just great for touching up little bits. And often I'll use that when I'm doing like areas here where I'm blending in the colours. Sometimes I will find that you will get streaky marks with you just going straight with the crayon and the water, but you can use this just to fix that up a little bit, just to make it a little bit more coherent and not so streaky. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a couple of minutes, and then we will get on to the next way of using Neocolors. Okay, so the other way you can activate Neocolor IIs straight onto the page without just using plain old water is you can use a white gesso. So I've just got the whole craft gesso here, a white one, and this is going to give your overall colour a little bit of a milky, creamy look to it, which I actually quite like. So what I'll do is I'll do another colour. I'm just going to colour around all these love hearts here. So straight on the page with Neocolor like I did before, but then instead of just using water, I will use gesso and a paintbrush to mix it all together. So if you need to sharpen your Neocolors, you can. You just have to make sure you get a sharpener that's got one of the thicker sharpening blades in it. So I use this only for my Neocolor IIs. I feel that because it's so waxy and you get so much wax in there, it's going to ruin your other pencils if you're using it. So this is my Neocolor II sharpener. So I just generally sharpen it into here, but now you're going to be using that colour later. A really great idea is just to sharpen it in a tray. So it's just in there like that, and later we can just add a bit of water to that, and you're not wasting the Neocolor, and it will make like a little bit of a watercolor paint. So we'll save that till later. Also, another tip is after you sharpen, sometimes you might find that you do get other color crayon on the tip of here, so you can see some of it on there. Easiest way to clean that I found is just grab yourself a tea towel or a cloth and just wipe it down, then it comes off clean. And you don't have to worry about getting it onto everything. And then I'm just going to take this same pinky colour and I'm going to pull this into here as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some gesso in here. I just had a bit of a gesso situation. I went to get it out of the container and the lid was on so tight that I couldn't get it out. So I thought a really fantastic idea would be to get a bread knife and then cut the container, but for some reason I decided to cut the container right in the middle. So then I had to end up throwing the container out. So I've had to put it in this little lunch box and then we'll see how it works. And now it's gone all over my tea towel. I've ruined another tea towel. I don't know if you guys are like me, but literally my tea towels are all covered in paint, all covered in glue. There is like not one nice tea towel in my house. Okay, so let's get on with this. Sometimes I do put a tiny little bit of water on. It just makes it flow a little bit better. So a little bit water, a tiny little bit of water mixed with your gesso. Now just go through and do some little touch-ups in the little bits that I've missed, and then we can get on to the next way of using your Neocolor IIs. Okay, so next method is I'm going to actually use the Neocolor II dry, not with wet this time. But first of all, before I use that, I am going to put a base underneath onto these love hearts here. So I'm going to put a base of fluoro watercolors. I've just got my Paul Rubens neons. I think I'm going to go with the pink since I'm doing the whole pink purple theme. So I'll just do a base of the fluoro pink and then go over the top with a dry Neocolor. And I think that will let the base coat pop through. So we'll see how we go with that. Okay, now the watercolor is dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in with the dry Neocolor. I've decided just to use the white. I have done a little bit here. So just straight over the top. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a line around the top, just so you can see that fluoro pink just peeking out a little bit. You will be able to see it coming through. There you go. So that's those done. So if I lift it up, you might be able to see, you can kind of see that pink peeping through, and on the sides always, of course. So the next technique is just straight onto the palette. So basically you just put your crayon straight onto the palette, and then you mix it with a little bit of water. And just use it straight from the palette like a watercolor. Now, what I like about this is you can mix colors this way. So it's really easy to make some different colors that you haven't got. But I'm going to color her in Snow White in this way. So just with my water brush again. So my palette is just a smooth palette, but you can actually get a Caran D'Ache palette, which on one side it's smooth like this, and on the other side it has like a bumpy feel, so it actually gets the pigment off the crayon better. So you just paint this on, just like watercolor. Okay, so I finished off colouring in Snow White and the birds and the deer. So what I've done is I've just used the palette with the Neocolor straight on there and some water. And I've done lots of layers. So I've done a layer after layer after layer, waiting till it dries in between every layer. I've also used straight from the crayon, like this way, to get some more intensity also. And now I'm just going to do the finishing touches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the crayon dry over the top, just to add a little bit of extra depth to it. Also, if you do something with a Neocolor and you don't want it there anymore, you can use an eraser to erase it out. It erases most of it. It does leave a bit, but you do get most of it off. Okay, so that's that all done now with the Neocolors. So everything there is Neocolors except for just the little tiny bit of watercolor that we use behind these ones here. I'm going to put some dry Neocolor on the edge here and spread it out with a little bit of water just to add something to the background. So I'll do that now and then we'll get on to the next stage. So I'm just doing a light line around the edge, and then I'll use the water to activate it and try and get an ombre effect, so it's dark to like basically nothing. Also, always starting from the bottom and moving out, otherwise you're going to be pulling the dark colour from here up the top, and you want that colour to fade out. So now I'm just going to use this and just straight from here and just touch up. Just touch up around here. Just so it's a little bit darker and then fades out a little bit more evenly. So there you go, a whole page done completely with Neocolor IIs. Obviously, I just added a little bit of Posca and some Toolyart paint pens, but apart from that, everything with Neocolor IIs. Lots of different techniques, lots of different effects. Great little crayons. They're amazing. And I only actually have probably a quarter of the colours, so imagine what you could do with all the colours. If anyone has any other techniques that they use with Neocolor IIs, I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what you think. Let me know what your favourite technique was. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. See you. Bye.